Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I've wanted to do this for a really long time, so I'm super excited because we're going to go ahead and do a question and answer session. Tamara asks, where do you see yourself 5 years from now and what will you be doing? This is a really difficult question for me to answer because my disability is super unpredictable and it's really hard to make plans for a week, never mind making plans for 5 years. I don't even know if I'm going to be at the weekend able to go outside. Obviously that depends on the weather, but it also depends on whether or not I'm going to have pain or whether I'm going to be sick in some other way. So like I say, it's really hard to make plans for future. But we all have dreams and ambitions, and one of my biggest dreams and ambitions is to become Dutch, or at least do the inburgerings exam so that I can become an official Dutch citizen. And I have 2.5 years to go, so that's something I really want to do if it's possible. I hopefully see myself as being Dutch and having a Dutch citizenship. In the short term, I'm already busy working on more independence because that's something I also want. Again, I don't know if it's super possible to get the things that I want to have, like being able to go outside and do groceries for myself and doing simple things in life, like being able to cook. I want those things too. So in answer to your question is, I'm working on my dreams and ambitions, but I really don't know because I really don't know what my disability is going to let me do in 5 years. Balkian asks, how did you get your interest in Holland in the first place? And by Holland, I'm pretty sure he means the Netherlands and the Dutch culture in general. And that actually all started when I was helping out on a chat server, a text chat server. There is one specific chat room there where we would help other people, other chatters with bots. And bots are basically a computer program with scripted code in it to make it look like a real person is typing to you when actually it's just a computer. People use these to make games for their chat rooms, trivia games, word frenzy games. And I was asked by a Dutch lady, actually she came from Belgium I believe, or maybe she was indeed from the Netherlands, I can't remember anymore, but she spoke Dutch and she wanted help with the bot. And I didn't speak any Dutch, but I figured out after about 10 minutes that Dutch was the language I needed to be typing in, so I found a translator online and used that to help her, and she was pretty impressed and pretty happy with the help that she got. But the whole time I was busy helping her, there are other people on the chat server that were in my position, so they had the same access as I did to all of the server, and they were also able to help people with this type of stuff. And they were all laughing at me and basically saying, what's the point? Why are you doing this? She doesn't speak a language that you speak, don't bother. And I really hate it when people comment on negative things like that, and it drives me to be more interested in what I'm doing. So in this case, it was speaking Dutch. It then drove me to want to learn that language as a language, and it made me more interested in the country and the culture itself, because of course if you want to learn the language, you want to understand more about the country and the culture, and that's where it all started. People make negative things, make negative comments towards me, saying that I can't do it, so why bother anyway? It's going to make me want to do it. That's a really good way to motivate me. Ronald asks, knowing that your eyesight isn't getting any worse, how do you still edit your videos, or does Jessica do that? Well, that's actually a really complicated question to answer. I will try and answer it as simply as possible. Jessica helps me, but I try to do as much as I possibly can for myself. Jessica is more the pair of eyes that checks that things are in frame that I want to be in frame, and checks that there are no mistakes in the video, and gives me tips and tricks on how to place the camera when I'm filming. And yeah, she does all the motivational stuff and also helps as an extra pair of eyes. But as far as editing is concerned, I try to do that for myself. As you've probably seen in the first Learning to Be Blind episode, I pulled the computer up towards my screen. I have my iPad in my hand at the moment so I can show you. This is basically how close the computer screen needs to be for me to be able to see anything, and I see colours and I see vague shapes, so I can see just enough to be able to get through an editing session. But it's not healthy. It's causing me headaches because I'm obviously having my face close to a screen that gives off heat, and the position that I'm sitting in while I'm doing that is not good for my posture or my body, and that also causes pain. So I'm actually getting to the point where I need to make a choice. I either need to stop editing and hand it over to Jessica, or I need a MacBook computer so that I can learn to edit as a blind person with voiceover in combination with iMovie. But yeah, that's a difficult decision that I'm having to make because I don't have lots of euros to give out on special computers. So I'm really having to consider my options. But for now, I'm trying to edit the videos as much as I can for myself. Corey asks, how and when did you get to know Jessica? Well, that all started in a chat room. Like I've said, I've hung out on many chat servers. I lived in England at the time, and my only point of contact with the outside world was the computer, social media, chat rooms, and that sort of thing. So Jessie had her friend, and I was already talking to him in chat rooms, and he introduced me to her, and we were hanging out in a whole Dutch trivia chat room and playing, or trying to play, because I didn't speak a lot of Dutch at the time, hardly anything, trying to play trivia. And I was asked if I wanted to attend a barbecue here in the Netherlands, and my answer to that was yes please, but first I want to learn Dutch, because I'm not going to come to a country where I don't know the language. One, I find that super disrespectful, and two, I don't want to be sitting in a whole group of people that are having a conversation in Dutch and not being able to follow it. So Jessie and I started to Skype because she offered to teach me the language, and that was a really cool thing for her to offer, and it meant that we could also become friends, because if you're Skyping, we don't just have Dutch lessons, we start talking about ourselves and our families and what we do for work or what not, because I don't have any work, I cannot do that. So yeah, we became friends that way, and from Skype it went to her visiting me in England and us going to see sites in England, and later on I came to the Netherlands to do the same thing, and eventually I moved here, and now I consider her a sister. So it's gone from being friends in a text chat room to having an adopted sister who I now share a house with, and she does quite a lot of care stuff for me too. Regina asks, how did you learn to play keyboard? Well, my interest in keyboard actually started when I was very young. I had a ridiculous toy keyboard, a children's toy, a yellow keyboard that never had any batteries in it, and I think the reason for that was probably because my mom didn't want me to make any sound or noise. But there was a TV show on TV in England called Top of the Pops, and it was basically a countdown of the top 20 or top 40 charts or something like that. And on this show they would have certain artists performing their latest single, and I'd go and watch this TV show with this yellow keyboard in front of me, and I'd be trying to copy what the artists were playing onto this keyboard without batteries. And my sister Jane picked up on this, and I don't know where she learned to play children's songs from, but I think it was probably because she had music lesson at school. But she, after I got another keyboard, I was given another keyboard, a bigger one, that did have batteries, and she labelled the keys on this keyboard with numbers from 1 to 6 and taught me to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And I thought that was super awesome, so I continued to try and learn stuff just by listening to music and trying to copy the melody, the bit that the people sing. I tried to copy, and I'd been doing that for many years until I was around 14. I got quite good at it, and when I was 14 I got in contact with a proper keyboard teacher who taught me letters instead of numbers, which is how a keyboard is supposed to be played, with reference to letters, and he taught me chords and all kind of fun stuff. So I even have a certificate for it. Henry asks, what's the best pickup line you've used on a woman? Well, Henry, I have a question for you actually, and that question is, do you realise that I'm a female? I know that on my Facebook picture I look very masculine, and I look very masculine in general, and I don't help myself by shaving my head, I know that. And so I'm just wondering, did you realise I was female, or are you just being open-minded? Maybe I'm a lesbian, maybe I'm bi, maybe I'm straight. You could just be being open-minded, of course. In answer to your question, dating is just not my thing, and I'm not really clever when it comes to thinking of pickup lines anyway, so gladly dating isn't my thing, because I would probably really suck at making up pickup lines. When I was in college, I had boyfriends, I suppose. Not all at once, but different relationships. But the boys there were really straight and to the point, and I just got, I like you, I want to date you. And I'm like, okay. I really suck at dating and doing that kind of stuff because it's really just not my thing. I'm happy being single, and yeah, so I don't do the cheesy pickup lines. Okay guys, that's it. Thank you very much guys for watching. Until the next video, be good, and if you can't be good, have fun.